How's this week of practice going?
Pretty light. I mean, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then we play, so pretty much this time of the year, people are just looking for games. Practice doesn't have the same appeal as it did 4 weeks ago when we first started, let's put it that way. So everybody's pretty much anxious to get going on Sunday, but the practices have been productive. We've gotten some things done, and that's a good thing.
Your players said that you had really hard practices this week. Are they just talented but a little clueless?
Well, I mean, a little might be giving them a little too much credit. No, it's not been difficult in terms of how hard you're going up and down. It's been probably more challenging because there's more attention to detail leading up to Sunday, and there was a lot of things that that we're stressing that you have to execute, and you have to execute it exactly right. There's no my bad, there's no I'll get it next time, not after this amount of time. So it may be hard in that way, but not necessarily hard physically.
Do you have an update on like an injury report sort of thing? Aubrey, Sailor, Dorka?
Dorka's good. Dorka's good. The other two are out, but Dorka's good. Aubrey's out. Sailor's out. Otherwise, everybody's pretty much good to go.
What did they decide with Sailor? What is it?
With Sailor?
Yeah.
She's seeing somebody today, as a matter of fact, but it's a shin problem that they're trying to figure out.
Is there any timeline for Aubrey getting back?
She's going to do a couple things today, from what I understand, and we'll see how she goes today. But she's obviously not near ready to actually play in the game.
What are you looking to see out of the team on Sunday? Anything?
Win.
Besides win. Besides win.
It's not your traditional cupcake opener, right? Where you bring somebody in and give them a hot meal and then tell them you want to win by 70. It's not one of those. So obviously, it's a great challenge for us because not only are they a good team that challenges your perimeter defense, and the fact that they beat us last year at their place. So it's not your traditional opener. So I think there's a little more angst going into it. So there's going to be a lot of players, 3 that I know of right off the bat that have never played a college game before. So they'll play a lot of minutes. So it'll be interesting looking to see how they react to that. And other than that, try to get a win and try to get a feel for each other. We come back to practice on Monday or Tuesday, and what are we good at? What are we not so good at? What do we got to get better at? And then we have, obviously a week to get ready for our next game.
We haven't asked you about your rotation in like an hour, so I was just wondering, do all those kids?
I did get a good question earlier today, though, from none other than that illustrious journalist, Carol Walters, who said, is it that you have, there's a difference between having a lot of depth and having a lot of bodies. So because you have 14 players, can all 14 of them contribute right away? And that's obviously not true. Then that's a big question, how many can? And you try to find that out.
And who could?
Some people actually perform, a different way in practice than they do in the game, and you're going to try to see on Monday, like, what's it look like? Right now, we plan on starting the same lineup we started Sunday, and then we'll go from there after that. And you could probably guess that the same people who played some prominent minutes the other day are going to get some prominent minutes Sunday.
I assume that the goal would be so that they all get comfortable, like the new kids, the old kids, so no matter who you put in at a time.
You would think that would be, yeah. There's a plus and a minus to having, obviously, a lot of people and that is the early on and early in the season, it doesn't look so good when you put a lot of players and you throw them out there and the combinations look goofy and some players don't fit exactly right with other players, and so that takes a while to get to, and that's not going to get solved on Sunday. That's for sure.
Adding to that, talk a little bit about how having all these people kind of breaks up that little defensive group that got so good at the end of last year, and how is it working people in on the defensive side?
Yeah, the defensive side is one issue for sure. Players over a period of a year learn to trust each other and learn to play together, and you know who you can count on, you know who you have to cover for, you know who's going to make the next rotation, that sort of thing. And then you get young players that you're going to be throwing in there who have really struggled at times in their careers to play defense at the high school level. No one's probably really got on them about it. So this is all new for them, for sure. And there'll be a lot of mistakes made defensively, and that's another reason why you play the game. And then same thing on the offensive end. You're pretty much, that group is clicking. They know. And now, you've got, but again, that's kind of why you play, you play these games. So if you think about it, between now and, Thanksgiving Day, we'll have played 4 games. And I'll probably be able to answer questions better, I hope, after those 4 games than I can right now.
Geno, your players have told us that they have thought a lot about, the fact that they lost to Arkansas last year. How much have you said to them about it?
I actually haven't said anything about any particular team. I'm sure it'll be brought up when we're watching film, so they'll get some of that today and tomorrow. But other than that, no, not that much. I mean, they're a different team, we're a different team in some ways, even though we have all the same characters back that did go down there and lose. So not much that you need to say about it at all. Not much.
Paige and Uzi have both announced some of their NIL deals lately. What does it mean to finally kind of see that out in the open and in response to that?
What's it mean for who? For them? I mean,
For you to
great.
see it.
For me to see it?
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they get an opportunity to do this. I hope it's what people thought it was going to be. I don't think it's going to be, but I hope it's what it's going to be. All those geniuses on TV who kept talking about how great it is for these kids to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness. Now kids are picking schools based on that. It has nothing to do with basketball anymore. Where can I monetize myself? So that's changed already. Schools are recruiting kids just based on that. Kids are making decisions just based on that. It's not about basketball, it's not about academics, it's about NIL. But no one's explained to them that only two kids on your team were ever going to get any of that. The other 10 of you are going to be left watching those other guys do commercials. Nobody tells them that part. So I'm anxious to see how it all plays out. But I'm happy for Paige and Azzy. They're great kids, they're great teammates. They deserve it, I guess. I mean, it's a great opportunity that never existed before. And I'm glad that they can take advantage of that opportunity. What's going to come out at the end of this year is, what are all the unintended consequences of all this? People talk about, coaches can do this and coaches can do that. Well, if I didn't perform to a level that I needed to perform at, I would have been out of my job. So when you get paid to do certain things, there's a performance expectation. So hopefully they can perform at a level that they want to perform at and not get caught up in this other stuff. Hopefully. I mean, I know I was mature enough and savvy enough and smart enough when I was 18 to handle all that. I'm 67 and I have no goddamn idea how to handle the stuff I have to do now. So I'm, keeping my fingers crossed that everybody comes out of this exactly the way it was intended to be. I doubt it, but we'll know more at the end of the year how we can help those that do get all the opportunities and how we can help those that don't get any of the opportunities. Because when mentally all these kids start to go through certain changes mentally because of what they expect and then when reality hits, we're left to deal with that, not the geniuses who think that this is a great idea for everybody and that's going to benefit everybody. So that's my long-winded answer to that question.
How are you, I guess, to follow up on that, seeing and Paige handle that?
Great. They've handled it great. They've handled it great. I don't worry about how they handle it. I worry about how their people handle it. So I don't worry about how Paige and Easy handle it. They're going to handle it great because they're great kids and they're great teammates. But generally speaking, that's not where you got to keep an eye on. So I'm keeping my eye on that, not necessarily Paige and Easy.
Your kids that you just signed this past week, Ayana and Ice, what did you see from them that you really liked on recruiting them, and what do you think they add to the program once they get here?
Well, I'm glad none of them mentioned NIL when they talked about their signing. I'm glad they came here because they thought this would be a great place for them to go to school, get better at basketball, and pursue their dreams. And then along the way, see what happens. I really admire both of those kids. Ice, committed here as a sophomore because it's what she always wanted to do. And I'm glad she got the opportunity to do that. Ayana committed here without ever having set foot on campus because it was during the pandemic, height of the pandemic. And you got to really admire a kid who has that much trust, both in herself and us, to want to be able to make that commitment at that time. So we're getting two great kids, two great individuals. If you ever listen to both of them in interviews, they all say the right things. It comes from the heart. They're the kind of kids that we're used to having here at Connecticut. So I'm awfully excited for that.
You mentioned Ice committed as a sophomore. Are you able to tell at that point in their high school career if they're going to be at that level,
No.
or do some players take longer?
No.
So what did you see in her there?
You can maybe take a guess, like you cross your fingers and go, this kid's pretty good as a sophomore. And so when you say yes to a kid, that's why I never do, hardly ever do. I don't know why I did it. I just lost my mind, but I said yes. And then she turned out to be what I hoped she'd become. Sometimes you say, you think so, and it doesn't work out that way. But when I saw her play, big kids that can pass, shoot the ball a little bit, handle themselves all over the court pretty much are very rare to find, unless you go to volleyball practice. That's where usually all the kids that used to play basketball are these days. So when you find somebody like that, you just kind of hope that each year they get better and better and better, and she has. And our offense really is predicated on big kids that can move, catch, pass, shoot it, dribble it, and I think she fits that mold. She's a big body, tough kid. I mean, as tough as a kid from California can be. I let her know that too. Especially San Diego. What's up, dude?
Best weather in the world.
Huh?
Best weather in the world. San Diego.
Actually,
I know. I wanted to trade with her. How about you come here, I go there. And if you ever see her at high school, it's nicer than any school in our league, including ours. The campus is unbelievable.
Modern day
At least.
at least.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Everything, it's like a college campus. It's unbelievable. Spectacular.
What's the strength of Kristen's game heading into her senior year?
Getting to the rim. trying to get to the free throw line more. I think that's something that we didn't necessarily do enough of, stress enough of, and she's perfectly suited for that. So she's gotten a ton of opportunities to do that in our practices, and I anticipate that's going to be a huge part of her game.
When she came in, you said that was the strength of her game. She could just get to the basket and score, but she's filled in between, hasn't she? I mean, and really strengthened her overall game.
She's streaky, as you saw last year on the perimeter. You know, she makes them all, she misses a bunch, she makes a bunch, and she misses a bunch. So that's a big part of what our practices have been as well. You know, being consistent. If you can make perimeter shots consistently, it gives you opportunities to get to the rim, you know? And defensively, you know, she's gotten better at guarding her man, you know, and I think that started towards the end of last season and carried over into the NCAA tournament. So I hope that that's something that we can count on her for.
She's still your number one defender on the perimeter. I mean, as of now. Or is there somebody who's stepped up more?
there's everybody has their strengths and weaknesses out there, but yeah, I think she's better at not letting really good players get the ball. I think everybody struggles once the kid catches it. So the hard part is making sure they catch it where you want them to catch it, not where they want to catch it. And she's gotten pretty good at that. Yeah, so it's different. Nika lets you catch it and then fouls you. Like telling you, don't catch it again, or I'll foul you again. That's why I was so happy when she went to the basket against Fort Hayes, and the kid whacked her right in the face and knocked her down. Nika was indignant, like, what are you doing? I thought that was a preemptive strike. I'm gonna whack you before you hit me. How can you not love Nika, right?
Where has Liv gotten better? I mean, you said you've seen some improvement in her, and she didn't look that different against Fort Hayes. Again, it's only an exhibition.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I think sometimes you have to improve in subtle ways. You know, whether it's making the right pass, setting the perfect screen, moving your feet on defense, putting yourself in position offensively where you just have to catch it and score rather than having to dribble 2 or 3 times to get a bucket. So that's a big question mark. I think going into the season is, are we able to get more from Liv more often than we got last season? And I think we will. What that is, not sure yet.
One of the things we saw in the exhibition was Dorka seems to be really physically skilled at scoring, especially going to her left. Any reason to think that's going to be different against better defenders or taller defenders? Or?
I mean, I don't think so. She didn't seem to have any problems scoring in the Big Ten, so I would think that that's going to carry over. That's a big reason why I was excited to get her here, because I think she can score against better players. I think she can maybe mix it up a little bit inside, outside. She works really, really hard defensively. So I'm anxious to see how she looks, in game competition. Some of the teams that we play, they don't play with a center. They play with a forward who happens to play center. So then it involves a lot of having to guard people, not just, wrestle underneath the basket. You got to move and you got to go do things, and she seems to show an ability to do that.
You said in your release of the recruits yesterday that Ayana can do things on offense and defense that's going to contribute. where she's going to contribute right away? What does she do so well?
Well, I say that about every recruit. You know, I see them in high school and I go, you know what? If they can do this, this, and this, they're going to really help us a lot in college. And then, as you've seen, some come here and they do exactly that, and they do, and some come here and they don't, and they don't. So the things that I like about Ayana, and it's hard to really project because every time she plays, she's double and triple teamed. So you say to yourself, well, how will she do when she's not? And that's what I'm thinking. You know, she has a great stroke, and she not consistent enough with it. So that's going to be a big point, because if she does that, then obviously she can help us a ton. And athletically, I think defensively and around the rim, because of her athletic ability, I think she'll be able to, you know, anytime you can get from here to there quickly and can get from here to there quickly, you have a chance to contribute. And she can do that.